What's your favorite piece of creepy folklore or legend? I read that as what's your favorite piece of crappy folklore or legend? The Wild Hunt or Ghost Riders. I'm an author, so I've been doing loads of research for my next book, and it's fascinating that there is a version of the hunt in nearly every culture. Some of my favorite bits are facts about how to avoid being taken by the hunt. See below. 1. If you hear the distant baying of hounds, it means they're close. If you're outside, get to the center of the road. 2. If you think the hunt is going to fly over your house, paint tar over your doorway. 3. If you hear the call of the hunt, never mimic it or call back, or you will get their attention. The hunt is drawn to disruptions in the landscape, new buildings in some cases. Sometimes it will come take every soul in a house, and people will find an entire family dead the next morning, without a mark on them. If you manage to trick the hunt out of taking your soul, you can often gain their favor, and they may give you gold, or a piece of their hunt. But even favors from the hunt can backfire, as one man was gifted such an enormous leg of venison from the high velocity, that it killed him instantly. There's loads more about it, and like I said, it's in nearly every corner of the world, and every story is a little different. Super interesting! The Tsuchinoko. It's the little fat Japanese snake that can double jump. The tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise. Skinwalkers are so creepy. Llorona, the ghost of a woman who haunts rivers and creeks crying for the children she murdered in revenge against a cheating husband. I grew up in the Southwest and lived close to a river, so that one kind of stuck with me. I had a neighbor who would taunt my siblings and cousins whenever we were going to go play at the river. Don't let Llorona get you. Thanks Gabby, thanks a lot. I'd act all tough, but this girl made damn sure none of us were at that river after sundown. Ever. I was also intrigued by Skinwalker's lore, but that one is really taboo among the Navajo and it caused visible distress in the few people I asked about it, so I dropped it. I heard rumors growing up, but never really knew what to believe or not. And no, they aren't werewolves like that terrible movie. Skinwalkers will always scare the hell out of me. I dread the day that I'm driving home at night and I see a deer look at me with a deadpan stare and slowly raise on its back legs and take a step towards me. Yes, at 25 years old I'm still afraid of monsters. The legend of the Silban. The legend tells that a spoiled young man wanted to eat offal, but there was no, so his father went to hunt deer to please his son. Was so much delay that he himself went to see what happened to his father, so he went out to hunt. On the way he sees that his father had not managed to hunt anything and in his anger kills him. The son kills the father, and takes out his organs, and takes them to his mother to cook them. When he was cooking, the organs were strange, and his mother, seeing that his father did not return, asked him what had happened, realizing that he had killed him, was cursed, and condemned to wander the plains. Dogs chased him and he got lost. He became a tall, very tall, human-shaped creature. He carries a sack in which he counts the bones of the victim, and that can be heard because he stops near the houses. Also a whistle, hence its name, the Silban. The louder it is heard, the farther away it is, the softer it is heard, the closer it is. It likes to attack drunks. I've seen Whiskey Jack, a pair of fairy lights trapped between heaven and hell. In Malaysia, these are my two favorites. The first one is the beetle kuning, which translates to the yellow beetle. There's this highway in Malaysia that's known for being haunted. So if you go on this highway at the right time, typically very late at night, you can see an old Volkswagen Beetle. The Beetle has no driver when you look at it. And if you overtake the nettle, you'll see it again. So what you're supposed to do is just don't overtake it. The second one is the Wanita Kabaya Mira, translates to the woman in the red kabaya. Kabaya is a traditional dress for women. So a lot of taxi drivers has had this happen to them. A beautiful woman in a red kabaya dress sits beside the road and gets into the taxi without speaking. She hands the taxi driver a note with a location. She doesn't speak at all for the whole ride. When he arrives at the destination, she hands him some money and walks out and slams the taxi door. The next day the taxi driver decided to go see the location since it was night and he couldn't really see it. He found out that the location that the woman gave him was a graveyard. The Maldivian legend, Ranamari, Ranamari. We grew up with the folklore legend of a demon that arises every night from the ocean that surrounds our country, Maldives. Our country is basically a group of islands, with a small population of people, hence according to the legend, the islanders would be petrified every month when the day the demon would appear came closer. In order to satisfy its demands, a person from the island will be sacrificed. The victim will be groomed and dressed well, and placed, I believe, tied, at the beach before midnight. By dawn the person will be gone. A vicious cycle that went on for years according to the tale. That the blues guitarist Robert Johnson sold his soul to the devil to get good at guitar. Living near Indian reservations always had me terrified of skinwalkers. So driving up to the mountains where I live you have to drive through the reservation on the highway, and typically during the day it's always fine, but at night during that portion of the drive everything is still and scary. You always see coyotes or wolves. I'm just expecting to look over one day and see one hop up on two legs and sprint towards me like the T-1000. Living near Indian reservations always had me terrified of skinwalkers. So driving up to the mountains where I live you have to drive through the reservation on the highway, and typically during the day it's always fine, but at night during that portion of the drive everything is still and scary. You always see coyotes or wolves. I'm just expecting to look over one day and see one hop up on two legs and sprint towards me like the T-1000. The Kelpies. Man, those demons scare the crap out of me, but I love it so much. It's so interesting. Also, changelings. I'm Scottish, so it was interesting to read about. Japan, legit they just have the creepiest shit, like that split-faced woman or the angry top half of a ghost. I'm oversimplifying a lot. Like sure, the Celts have a fused man-horse abomination that brings disease everywhere, but they don't have giant invisible skeletons. The journey to becoming a Sangoma involves you sitting in a river for an extended period of time, communicating with an old woman who helps you connect with the ancestors. Anyone who passes by, though, will see you talking to a snake.
With